He catfished me a second time. And the second time that I met him, he pretended to not even know me. That if they were given a choice to trade lives with me, they would. Because, my life is so good.
I'm Rika Salomon.
Yes, block, stroll up, not interested. A few years ago, I put on my own makeup brand called Beauty, and it flopped so hard.
I don't care what people say.
Hey, Rika, thank you for joining me. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I forgot that it's evening. So sorry. How was your day? How was your
different time zones
day?
Kasi. Okay naman, my day is okay. I've just been planning for my birthday next week. So it's like an all birthday extravaganza.
What's your plan for your birthday?
I always make it a point kasi to make my birthday really big. So next week, I'm hosting like a 3-day beach party sa resort namin. So like, it's gonna be big. And every year, I always celebrate it big talaga. But this year, it's gonna be bigger than the previous year.
Is there like a theme for like what they're wearing for your birthday?
Well, I mean, it's a beach party. So of course, it's gonna be like beach, resort, fit, tropical realness. But I'm thinking for this year, it's gonna be Zara Larsson, Midnight Sun kind of situation.
I live for that. I live for that. So for those who are watching this podcast, I just want to introduce Rika here. If you haven't met her yet, because I have viewers from different parts of the world, Rika is a Filipina trans woman, a trans creator on TikTok, on Instagram, an LGBTQIA plus advocate. And honestly, I just want to be honest with you. Like every time I see your content on Instagram, because I'm mostly active on Instagram, it gives me warmth and joy. And I know that I said that on the script, but I really mean it. Like there is something about your content that feels like it's completely opposite of what I do, which is being so reckless all the time. And
I wouldn't say it's reckless. It's being unapologetic, and that's you and your brand.
And like seeing your content makes me feel like it's cleansing my soul. If that makes sense.
Well, thank you.
Of course, I really mean that by heart. So I want to start first with social media presence, because that's exactly how we met. Like I followed you on Instagram. I remember you said that you followed me because of me kissing a guy.
Yes.
Let's talk about your content first on social media. Your content, I would say, often mixes joy, and you have some beauty content and personal reflection. How do you decide what parts of your life to share and what you want to keep private?
Well, Sam, for me, kasi I started sharing about my life for like, maybe for the last, I'm 33 now, but for the last like 16, 17 years, I started on YouTube talking about growing up as a trans woman, trying to figure things out by myself. Because growing up, I had no one to look up to. I had no trans icon. So I had to like figure out everything on my own. And I feel like I'm very public when it comes to my life. And I feel like there's so much strength in that, because when you're public, when you talk about and share about your life, other people could be watching it, could take inspiration, could be somewhat they feel like they have someone who's going through the same things as they are. And I felt like if I didn't have that growing up, at least I can be that person for that's something that I've just always been public about, because I feel like there's so much power in sharing your own story and controlling your own narrative in a way.
Is there a part of your life that you're like, I'm pretty sure that there should be, because at least like there are things in our lives that we keep it private. So are there parts of your life that you're like, this story or this part of my life is only for me? And maybe it's not from a place of being uncomfortable of sharing it, but maybe from a place of like, at least I have something for myself, to be selfish a bit and be like, this part of my life is only for me and only for me. And I don't want it to be publicized.
I think that the things that I keep private would be times where I'm really at a low in my life, where I'm not really that comfortable yet to talk about it, but eventually I will. Based on experience, like I always talk about things that even caused me trauma, because again, there's so much strength in sharing your story. So I may not share it while I'm going through it, but most
Yeah.
probably after I get through it, that's when I start sharing it. I don't really keep a lot of things private, and I feel like maybe that's a maybe that's a bittersweet thing because I feel like because my life is so public, diba?
Yeah.
I feel like there's always like I always have to try to explain when things don't go my way. Like, let's say when it comes to dating and relationships, and people ask me what happened to this person. I feel like even if I don't owe anyone an explanation about my
Mhm.
love life, I feel like I still owe it to my followers who, who have
Yeah.
been with me since the start to like somewhat explain like, oh, it just didn't work out. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's always a lesson din kasi to be there's always a lesson to these things, and that's why I share it because again it's I grow with my followers. It's like I take you with my life, and that's why I share things about myself, and maybe there's only like a minute things that I keep private, but
Okay.
everything is like I wear it on my sleeve. It's okay. I'm not really that ashamed of anything,
I think
or
I understand.
not even ashamed pala, but like I'm not that worried about sharing things
Yeah.
about my life because I love talking about my life. I'm a narcissist that way.
I, I love the self-awareness. I love the self. I'm narcissist. I don't think it's narcissism though. I think being narcissist is being very selfish. I think parts of the biggest part or biggest reason why you share some parts of you is for you to give. And for, like you said, like you didn't have a trans icon for you growing up. And maybe it has become one of your purposes to be that trans icon for people who are looking for a trans icon. And that's giving for me. I don't think it's necessarily narcissistic. Maybe in some instances vanity, but I feel like narcissism is such a stretch.
And conceitedness.
But I do understand what you said when you're like, if I'm going through something, I want it resolved first before I get to share it because
Mhm.
I want first to share the solution or the lesson I've learned from it. Is
Correct.
that right? I do
Yes.
understand that because I'm the same.
Mhm. The same way, Sam, I just want to share, like, a few years ago, I put up my own makeup brand called Caillou Beauty, and it flopped
Uh-huh.
so hard. And a lot of people actually, like, I don't know, but they're always so amazed at how open I am and how self-aware or how I'm okay making jokes about that failed business. Cause I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not ashamed to fail. I'm not ashamed to share why we failed, which was purely laziness, unpreparedness. We were very unprofessional when it came to the business. And like, I was just making fun of how we ran that business. And I feel like a lot of people were like, maybe drawn about the honesty, but also self-awareness in that video and that experience. But like I said, there is so much power in owning everything that you do in your life and sharing it with people because in that way, I also don't like my bashers, they don't have anything that they can use against me because I own it. I own my failures. I own everything, the negatives and the positive about myself.
I really, really love that. I really love because it takes some courage to actually do that. It's like, so I tried before like doing content and it flopped so hard that there are like points in my life that like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But like, if you start like just embracing it, like the way you do it and like actually make fun of it and not take it too seriously, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes lighter, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Diba?
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, are there moments or a piece of content unexpectedly connected with someone or spark a conversation you didn't anticipate? Like it could be positive, negative. It's just like something that was so unexpected for you.
Well, honestly, because I share so much about my life,
Yeah.
about my family, and about like growing up, siguro back then, like when I was starting, I never really expected my videos to blow up and actually for like people to actually take inspiration from it. So my answer earlier was stemming from that I never knew just simply talking about my experiences, sharing the joys, the ups and the downs actually helped a lot of queer people figure things out on their own as well. I guess one way or another, a lot of trans kids share that they
Mhm.
transitioned because they saw me living my life unapologetically. And I never imagined that I could touch people in that sense. Because sometimes I feel like in order for you to inspire people, you have to somewhat have reached a certain point in your life that is somewhat successful. But like, I can't see myself as a role model kasi, but rather maybe an inspiration to, to live your life, and to be unapologetic about it.
I like that
Simply
a
that,
lot.
and finding joy in owning up owning who you are, regardless of how it looks for you.
Yes. And I think like with this influence that you have on social media and how you touch other queer people's lives, has there a point in your life or was there a point in your life where you felt like the responsibility is getting heavier than you could handle?
Yes, there was a point in my life where I feel like there's a certain image that I have to have because people have dubbed me as a role model for the trans community when I never asked for
Mhm.
it naman, diba?
Yeah.
There's a certain pressure that can't I can't be too quote unquote reckless. I can't do this, I can't do that. But going back, I feel like it's also I don't know. I mean, yes, there's pressure in
Mhm.
carrying that name, but at the same time, I always talk about it on my videos whenever I respond to transphobes or transphobic
Yeah.
comments that the action of one trans person doesn't define the whole trans community, diba? And at the same way, I can only talk about my own experiences and things that I'm aware of, but speak for the whole trans community
Yeah.
in that sense.
I like that.
Parang ganon, yeah. Because that's too much pressure. And at the same time, I feel like that's why whenever I'm invited to speak in certain universities, certain
Mhm.
organizations, and they want me to talk about very, very serious topics that is somewhat out of my scope of expertise, I always like try to change the possible talking points into something that
Mhm.
feels more genuine to my experience. So there.
I see. With that being said, like, because you have this whole persona of being a role model to trans people that you didn't ask for, do you feel like it's something that people misunderstand that like people expect Rika is the perfect role model as a trans woman? Do you think like there is a tendency of them misunderstanding that you're a human being with spectrum of different decisions, right, wrong, in
Yeah.
betweens?
I feel like siguro what I don't like about it is that
Mhm.
whenever people would compare me to other trans women and be like, that's why I like Rica compared to this person because she's educated, she's like this, she's like that. And I'm like, parang, there's no competition. And at the same time, it's so easy to like turn against someone that you deemed as a role model once they start saying the wrong things that you don't want to hear. So it's kind of difficult in a way, but I feel like being dubbed as a role model gives me so much pressure, but at the same time, I try not to let it limit what I what I want to say and what I want to do. So I try to remind myself that I didn't ask for this. I am just simply going to be myself, be me, without having to like, ano ba, without having to like satisfy people's expectations of me.
This level of responsibility that you have, because like I said, my friend follows you and
Mhm.
she's really a big fan. And one of the things she mentioned to me was you were an advocate of our community and one of the best presentation of the trans community. So you have this level of responsibility and some pressure that you have on your shoulder of having to say the right things all the time. What's your creative process when you're making content without letting this drive you nuts, you know?
Well, Sam, honestly, whenever I'm guessing she's talking about whenever I would try to educate people on
Yeah.
soji equality, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, what queer rights actually mean, etc. These are things that are natural to me because growing up, I had to learn these things in order for me to understand myself and to also understand other people better. And it is through the conversations that I had with other people, joining seminars and talks that I'd like to believe I have a good grasp on sexuality, gender identity, and the advocacy of what we're all fighting, queer people are fighting for. So it's honestly not that stressful for me to create
Okay.
content about it because it's so natural to me that I don't even need to like think about it too much. So when I
Yeah.
respond to someone, when I try to quote unquote educate someone, it's very natural. I don't really think about it. I just respond, say what I want to say, done.
I get it. I think it became like a muscle reflex for you because it's your
Muscle
comfortable
reflex
environment.
because it's been years na rin kasi. Sorry, let me just ano lang my ring light kasi nawala ng battery. Yan, go.
You mentioned earlier that like you didn't have a trans icon growing up and you had to work on it on your own. Has that changed over the years?
Yes, over the years, I do have like, I finally like found people that I actually look up to. But
Uh-huh.
again, like a long time ago, rather, being trans was a bit of a taboo. I mean, it still is right now, diba? But like
Still is.
compared to before,
Yeah.
there was really no information about it, especially here in the Philippines, diba? I didn't know which doctors to go to, if there was any HRT doctor. I didn't know like who to actually talk to or like ask
Yeah.
questions to. So, and there was really no representation of the trans community in the Philippines at that time, except like Kevin Balot, like all these trans beauty queens that I see on social media. But other than that, no one really relatable in that sense as a high school student.
It's a really interesting looking back in the time like where trans people have less visibility in the society because we had very limited presentation. We have Kevin Balot, as I think the biggest at that time presentation
Yeah.
of our community in the country. And was there a moment in your transition that you felt some pressure to fit that archetype that she represents physically?
Yes, actually a lot. I feel like in my earliness, I felt like I needed to be ultra femme.
Yeah.
That's why if you would scroll to my very, very, very old
Yeah.
videos, you'd see me being more conscious about how I talked. I would talk in a very, very effeminate manner so that people don't clock me. It's kind of like muscle memory kasi, and like, I don't know. But like as I grew older and as
Yeah.
I matured, I also realized that there is nothing wrong with owning your transness. And that's why right now I'm more confident. I'm more happy now that I am owning my transness and not feeling any shame about my masculine features, about being noticeably trans, because to me, it's something natural to me and it doesn't make me any less of the woman that I am. So yon, not to shame other trans people who feel the need to do so, but how we deal with our gender dysphoria is different from person to person. And I've just learned to, again, going back to what I said earlier, being unapologetically myself. And yon, here I am right now.
Looking so beautiful and radiant. Of course. I have a follow-up question with that.
Of course.
What was the moment in your life or how was the process in that? Like accepting your transness. Was there a moment in your life where you were like, I'm really done trying to be someone that I'm not and I need to find a way to accept who I am?
Sam, just to give you like a glimpse of my childhood, I never really had to come out to my parents, and I always had a
Okay.
very, very supportive support system in a way that at 18th, I even had a debut. And at 21, I had the debut again. This time as a woman na talaga. And like, I was just so lucky that I was surrounded with family that supported me, never asked me questions. I was surrounded with friends and classmates, schoolmates, even faculty who supported my journey and always saw me as a woman, even prior to transitioning. So having that support system made me realize that what makes me a woman is not on me having to transition, having to grow my hair. I've always been a woman. I just never really understood or like had the words to explain to other people what I was going through. But I've just always been me, and when I got a whole understanding of what it means to be a woman in this society and in general, what being transgender meant, that's when everything clicked.
I remember like you said earlier that you had a certain pressure of feeding that trans woman archetype
Yes.
that a lot of popular trans women early years that we were getting more visibility. How was like the process in kind of like combating that? That hey, like
Overcoming that.
overcoming that, like, hey, like
Yeah.
I don't have to look like Kevin Balot. I don't have to have Barbie arms, or I don't have to
Yes.
get rid of all my masculine features. What was the moment in your life, or where was that time that you felt like you're over it?
I feel like it was very gradual, like I said, that I started to
Okay.
like just felt more like myself. I can't really name a specific moment or like
Uh-huh.
where I saw it that way. But I remember there was this one time I left my gym clothes at home and I had to borrow my friend's workout clothes. He's a guy. So like I had to wear his like baggy shirt, his shorts na sobrang parang basketball shorts and
Yeah.
like but when I wore those clothes, I didn't feel dysphoric. I didn't feel like, I was wearing, like, I still felt like a woman or I still saw myself as a woman regardless of what I was wearing. And I felt like that was such an empowering moment for me because back then I would avoid wearing polo shirts. I would avoid wearing leather shoes because it would remind me of the dress code for grade school and high school when I was in an all boys school. But during that day or night rather, when I wore his clothes, I didn't feel dysphoric at all. That's when that's where it clicked that, hey, I'm okay, being seen as masculine. It doesn't really bother me. And I guess to add, back then in my early 20s, I was always bullied for having muscles, for being, batak. They would call me Borta Tranena, which translates to a buff trans woman because,
Yeah.
I'm an athlete. So I play volleyball. I'm a volleyball varsity player. So like I do have toned arms and maybe back then I was conscious of it, but eventually I got to own it in a sense that there's nothing wrong with being strong. Can be strong. Cis women can be strong. And I guess once you accept that you're a woman and um you also educate yourself when it comes to feminism and what feminists are fighting for about women having to break out the stereotypes of what it means to be a woman, diba? You get to sort of understand also that our masculine features doesn't define our womanhood as well. It's just a feature. It's just a feature that we have, but doesn't, negate our womanness.
I like that a lot because personally, it is something that I also struggle with. Like I have big arms and I'm like, oh my God, I hate my arms.
Mhm.
What is your advice for someone who's still going through that, like as a first step to them? Like, what do you think will be the most essential step for them to start with to overcome that fear of their masculine features?
I feel like it really depends on the person, but to me, I think what helped me was seeing features as simply just features, not even branding it as masculine or feminine. It's just a feature that you have. Diba? Kasi parang if you say, oh, my arms are very masculine, what does it mean to have masculine arms? Oh, it's big. But you also think, why? There are cis women who have big arms as well. So like, if you just look at these things as simply just body parts, not even categorizing them as like being masculine or feminine, you sort of also like develop your brain into thinking that it's just a body part. It's not who I am. It's not my identity.
I love this a
If
lot.
that
Oh my
makes
God.
sense.
It makes sense a lot. Like not gendering your features and just letting them be just features. Like,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I didn't know I'm actually going to enjoy really talking because I was like so nervous going on this because this is my first time interviewing someone and I'm like, I'm going to be nervous because I thought I wouldn't be like really present and I would be so focused on the idea of I'm talking to someone and it's being recorded. But I'm learning a lot from you.
Thank you. But you're actually really good at like facilitating questions. So props to you. Props.
I'm so happy to hear that. Now, I was kind of like researching because back then, before I even do content, I was actually more private. I had
Mhm.
my Instagram private. I wasn't really much on social media other than posting my selfies. So
That's hard to believe knowing your content now.
no, no, really for real. Like my content before was more just like my personal life and pictures of
Yeah.
buildings and stuff like that. So I wasn't really active in the community. And
Yeah.
there are times that I regret it because I kind of feel like I'm still catching up on things in terms of being educated. And not only that, but I felt like at that time, one of the things I struggled with, like you said, was I didn't have a trans icon to
Mhm.
look up to, but because I kind of feel like a lot of people that I see, at least in my real life, felt like it's unattainable for me to have, which creates more
Mhm.
insecurity. So I tried to camouflage with normal people and try
Yeah.
to live a normal life and not really make a big deal of my transness. But I learned that I cannot just deny it because it's who I am. And whether I like it or not, one way or another, the world would remind me that I am trans. With
Yeah.
that being said, where I'm trying to get to is that I was a bit late of like understanding what type of content you make. So I was
Mhm.
researching about your online presence a couple of nights ago, and I discovered that you actually made a petition for a
Yes.
university yearbook,
Yes.
allowing trans women to present themselves as their gender identity.
Mhm.
I felt like that was such a bold move. How was that? Tell me about it.
Okay. So this paano nga ba? So this was back in college, obviously. I found out that the upper years, the higher years, people above
Yeah.
me, when they graduated, they had to cut their own hair, they had to wear the men's uniforms. That was difficult for me to like accept that would happen to me because I was growing my hair right after I entered college. I was already this.
Yeah.
And then going through college, not having to dress a certain way because in college we had no dress code. So I could just wear whatever in campus and people were fine with it. So people saw me. I was somewhat popular in school because I was
Yeah.
the only trans. Oh, no, actually, no. We were like three in the
Mhm.
school. Pero I think I was the pinaka visible one. So I was the most visible one. And when I found out that they had that no cross-dressing rule and I would fall under that rule, I had to petition against it to abolish that rule because I didn't want to look like a man in my yearbook. And it just didn't make sense to me because knowing that a lot of people just already recognized me as a woman, I saw myself as a woman, I felt like this rule was just not up to date to what society
Mhm.
is right now at the moment. So I had to like write a petition, talk to a lot of people, and I'm just so happy that that I won that petition. The school became more progressive and more inclusive of their queer students moving forward and throughout the years. So there, but honestly, I wasn't really that afraid about it not passing because again, so many people supported me, my schoolmates, the faculty. So I feel like they just needed like a nudge that hey, we should abolish this rule because it doesn't make sense anymore given that it's a progressive time, we're becoming more inclusive of the queer community, and like we don't need this rule anymore.
Wow. I'm happy that you had an environment like that where people are very supportive.
there was a there was little pushback
Okay.
from like conservative parents and Jesuits. We won. We did it.
You get a pushback from other students as well at that time? Was there a pushback?
Not that I heard of because again I was the queen of the campus.
Like you can't sit with us. One day we wear pink. Well, that's
Pretty much so.
were you shocked that it ended up on the news?
I was because actually they didn't even ask for like do or
Yeah.
they didn't even like nudge me that they were doing a story about it. And I feel like when they put up when they featured it on the news, that's when it got pushed back because when it was just an internal
Yeah.
problem, it was like people were like, yeah, we can abolish that rule, blah blah blah. But when they published it for the whole Philippines to see, that's when people outside of the school share their negative opinions, and that was funny to me because quote unquote mean girls, you don't even go to the school, diba?
Did you already have an online presence during this time?
Not really, but I was quite known, popular among the from different universities because
What were you known for in your university? Like, what made Rika popular?
being being the trans girl. At that time, it was a foreign concept for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So there were so many rumors. Oh my God, did she get post-op? Ganun na, post-surgery, whatever.
Do you still get this type of questions
Of
from like,
course, I do. Yeah.
how do you handle it? Like, let's say like you just met someone and they're already asking that question in the first 5 minutes of the conversation. Like, how do you respond to it?
Back then, I would hesitate answering that and have to explain why it's rude. But now I just answer it and then I tell them, but don't ask this to don't ask other trans girls or trans people in general what's in their pants. Because it's called private part for a reason. You should keep it private, blah, blah, blah. But like, ako kasi ngayon, because my life is so public, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna answer it and just tell them, but next time, don't ask this question because it's rude. So like, whatever.
I still struggle with that question every time.
Of course.
Like, there was a time I was meeting this friend through another friend. It was my first time meeting
Yeah.
her. She linked us up in Paris, and the first question she asked when she knew that I'm trans, she was like, so do you have a vagina or a penis?
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like whether you're operated or not. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's so confusing when someone you want to be your friend asks you that.
Yeah. Because why do you want to know? Why do you have to know, diba?
Yeah. Like, I think it's my fear of like, are you measuring my womanhood now? And like, wanting to know
Correct.
you're
That's how
comfortable
it
enough.
does feel. And that's what I have to explain to other people. Why? Because they're gonna answer. You just need to answer it yes or no. Like it's not offensive. But what people don't understand is that, as trans women or trans people in general, but mostly trans women, I'd like to say our womanhood is always under scrutiny. So answering that question already puts us in like this weird place that am I a woman enough for you or not, diba? That's what they don't understand.
Exactly. That feeling. You mentioned earlier that you were very lucky to grow up with a family that's very supportive, that you didn't even have to come out. But was there ever like a conversation you had your family in terms of your transition, whether it's related to a certain procedure, whether it's related to life decision tied to you being a trans, that you've had with them that felt relieving for you to have? Like, I'm glad that we had this conversation.
To be honest, no. I never had this conversation with my
Really?
family in a sense because I feel like they always just accepted it without having me
Without
to
even,
explain it. Then whenever there was this one time, like a few years ago, not a few years ago, a long time ago rather, when my dad commented on another trans woman that we saw in the mall. And I honestly don't remember what he said, but I remember correcting him and in a way trying to explain to him, she's trans, she's not a gay man. Those are two different things. So I had to explain to him. So it's not indirectly explaining what I am to my dad, but other people rather. And I feel like he just understood it na rin naman na. But again, I never really had that talk with my parents, having to explain my being trans to them and what it means to be trans. Because I also know that outside, like kunyari, my dad would attend seminars sometimes on SOGI equality because he's required to. So I think because of that, he got like basic understanding of what it means to be trans and being queer.
wow. Your dad goes to like Soji seminars and stuff. That's
Required.
amazing.
Required by work. So required by work.
How does he find it being educated by that? Like, how does he find it? Was there a time he
Well,
was
I mean,
confused?
no naman. I don't think my dad was confused.
Okay.
Or I feel like there are times that he's confused, but I think overall, as long as for the general rule of things, a lot of people still don't understand the differences between sexual orientation, gender identity, what
I
being
agree.
gay, bisexual, trans is, whatever, and whatnot. But I think what trumps them all is as long as the person is compassionate and open to understanding and to listening, you can never be wrong. As long as your intentions are pure and you're open to like listening, then you can never really be the type of person who's ignorant.
I agree.
Yes, you may not understand these things, but as long as you have an open heart, that's fine.
I agree. 100%. Now, not only as a trans creator, but also like as a person, was there a time where you were so surprised of how brave and strong you are as a person because you handled something more than you thought you could?
I guess getting a lot of hate comments from on TikTok, like from transphobes and religious bigots. I feel like back then I didn't really think it was such a big deal, like dealing with these things. But whenever I would talk to other like queer folks who are going through the same thing, and I see how they're so affected by these comments, parang I somewhat see why people do think I'm strong for not being phased by these comments. And I feel like it comes from a place of, because nga, I'm surrounded with such a good and strong support system, that these comments do nothing because I know my truth and I know my life. And honestly, it's the yabang for me na I know that if they were given a choice to trade lives with me, they would, because my life is so good.
I love
They could never. They're all
that
coming
you
from a place of
never.
jealousy and hate. Because honestly, Sam, I am not the person who would go on TikTok or any app and leave a hate comment because I'm too busy living my life and my life is happy. No sane, happy person would go on social media just to hate on another person. Like that takes so much energy and effort to do. So if they're doing that to me, that just speaks so much about them.
100% on this. I get it. As you know,
Right?
I post a lot of content that's like very polarizing for bigots and
Yeah.
for regular people, and get a lot of hot, like really negative comments. Like some are just very, very intense. And I can't help but to think that, like, for me, when I go on social media and I don't like something, I just scroll up.
Yes, block, scroll up, not interested. It's so easy.
Like, I don't really have the energy to like leave a hate comment on anyone. Like, that's such a weird thing to do. But I'm so surprised how many of them exist online.
Yeah, well, that's their breeding ground. Diba?
Did you ever get like a, not just like a pushback, but also maybe like negative comments from our own community? And how did you handle it?
Yes. From our own community, I would get comments like this is the reason why they don't accept us because I'm too like demanding about our rights. I'm like, girl, I'm fighting for our rights. At the same time, these comments from people of within our community, it stems from internalized transphobia, internalized homophobia, stems from them being a pick me, and I can't really say anything against that now because to me, they are just a victim of this heteronormative society.
Have
They
you
don't realize it, but they are just victims of this society, and that's why they have internalized homophobia and transphobia.
have you ever responded to one?
Of course, that's why I became big on TikTok also. Like I have a lot of viral videos responding to hate comments. Back then, I was very petty, but the way that I
Yeah.
would respond is never to like, not like in an angry manner. I would just make fun of it. And yeah, that's how I responded. I'm just unbothered. And I would honestly use the hate for my own personal gain. So that's why I became a content creator and I grew a following because of that, of the hate comments. So thank you so much.
I'm trying to use that method because I've only started doing content, I think,
Yeah.
last 5 months. So I've only been doing it for like 5 months. In the beginning, I was like thinking, oh, it's not going to affect me. Duh. But like, there was a point I was like, it's getting too much, that I think I responded sometimes with anger, that I would let it get to me. And I just realized that like that method actually works. Instead of like looking at it as kind of like your downfall, I look at it as an engagement. I'm like, thank you for engagement. That pushes
Yeah.
my content.
I get you, Sam. I'm also going to be honest that I don't let it affect my self-esteem per se, but I do get mad at
Yeah.
hate comments. It's annoying because I'm like, how can you be this stupid? Honestly,
I think it's more
how
about,
can you
I
be
think
this mad?
it never affected my self-esteem in terms of like someone like calling me, oh, she has like weird teeth,
Yeah.
or like you're not passing as you think you are,
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
you're not. It doesn't affect me because I know I can get guys and I get told I'm beautiful
Correct.
every single day. So like
Correct.
I'm happy,
Correct.
but it annoys me. Why are you being like this? Like what? Like
Exactly. Exactly.
and it's usually coming from chop faces. Like
Exactly. That's why there was this one video that I did where I literally just did like the hater commented about my face. So I posted
yeah,
her photo as a green screen and I was like using the audio, look at her, now look at me. Look at it. Look at me. How you like that? Bang!
or like,
No explanation needed. That's all I needed. And she was so mad.
I should
She deleted her comment and put her profile on private because she was so ashamed. But that was like, that's my point.
I should be this level of petty. Actually, I should really, really do this. And like also like it saddens me. I think it's more of like not annoying me when I see trans people leaving negative comments, but it makes me sad rather than like just being angry. It makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Like, how are you leaving this comment as a trans woman? You know, like sometimes I would get comments because I do kissing videos and stuff like that. And they would be like, this is the reason why it's the same thing as you get. This is the reason why they hate our community. And I'm like, I didn't know that like we just recently started being hated because I just got online 5 months ago. So the hate is new.
So, you know, if you receive those kinds of comments, the best answer would be, you know, if you could, you would. If you could, you would.
Like, I'm sorry that I like guys and guys like me too. I'm just trying to live
Yes.
my life.
And throw the question back because if you could, you would.
I would say that next time. If someone says that, I would be like, if you could, you would. Someone told me this.
Exactly. No need for
Now,
an explanation. That's it. If you could, you would.
talking about guys, let's talk about your dating life.
Okay, yeah.
Is that a comfortable space for you to
Of
explore this
course. I have
conversation?
a very colorful dating life. I've had men fighting for me, like literally blah blah blah, she's mine, blah blah blah, like that.
Really?
Yeah. So like my love life was colorful since I was in 7th grade up until maybe 5 years ago. Now it's dead.
Wait, so right now you're single, I would assume. How long
Yes,
have you
I'm
been
single. I think 3 or 4 years. When I got my twins, I thought the twins would salvage me, but apparently it didn't.
I don't know if it's ignorant question, but like, are you in a phase in your life right now where you're like ready for dating, or you want to find the right person for you right now, or you're more kind of like, if it happens, it happened.
Honest Sam, I think I don't know if I really want a romantic relationship because I've been through all that. You know, I've had what, 8 boyfriends, 8 relationships, like numerous dating, like numerous fling situationships, numerous, so many back then. But when I turned 30, that's also the time when I realized that I'm not happy when I'm in a relationship. Or maybe I haven't found the one, diba? Pero I'm just happy being single because I think what I have always valued and growing up, what I always really, really valued on top of everything are my friends. Because to me, friendship is the most romantic of all relationships. And I've always valued my friends above everything else. Even when I was dating my ex-boyfriends back then, diba? I would always prioritize my friends. Like if my boyfriend would want a date, go out on a date, and then my friends are like, hey, let's go watch a movie. I'm gonna be like, oh, sorry, my friends asked, so like I'm gonna prioritize them over you. But like again, friendship to me is the most romantic of all relationships. It's more free, it's more understanding. It's just there's no obligation to do these things, but you do it because that person is your friend and you grow with them. They've seen so many different versions of you, but they're still there for you. And that's why, to me, friendship over like romantic relationships. And I'm happy.
Now, when was the last time you went on a date with a guy?
The
Be
last
honest.
time I went out on a date, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
What? Like long time ago? Was it like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, months ago?
I don't remember.
Oh my God. So you haven't gone on a date in such a long time, I would assume.
Probably. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I don't even remember which guy. Gone on a date? Parang no.
Really? Not in a
I
long
really
time?
don't remember. Because honestly, like, even just like talking on the dating
Yeah.
apps, if I really don't see this working out, I'm not interested anymore. I feel like I've come to the point that if it's not the right fit, I don't want it. I don't even want to work hard for it because again, I don't see the allure of relationships anymore. I'm just really happy being single. Hookups, flings marami, but like a romantic date, bye, can't be me. It's like I can't take it seriously.
I wish I have this level of feeling like of, I think, security when it comes to life because I kind of feel like sometimes I feel like I would always need a man, you know? So I'm hoping to get there. You're going to be my inspiration in that.
No, girl.
Do you still feel like,
I
do you still
go.
feel like a sense of a pressure of, not pressure, but like the temptation to dress up to appease the male gaze nowadays? Or is that like that thing left you a long time ago?
Because honestly, I just dress up for myself because I'm still a male and that's my gaze. That's a joke. I am the male gaze. No. I know. To me, I don't know because again, it has been a while since I really went out on a date. So like
Yeah,
I can't really say if I dress up for the male gaze because I honestly just dress up whatever I feel confident in.
I like that.
So I'm not sure.
What I want to
I
hear,
I dress up for the TikTok gaze, for the social media gaze. No, you know what? The answer is I dress up for the gaze,
for the
for the
gays,
queen.
for the
Yeah,
queen, for the
yeah, for
queen.
the queens.
I want to hear about your dating life more because it's something I'm really curious. First, you're a big persona online. So I'm pretty sure like you're getting a lot of, I would say, solicitations, whether it's indecent solicitation for
Mm,
something or like an invite for a date. What was the weirdest date you've ever had? I want to know.
marami. But before that, I'm just gonna say that being a social media personality is a double-edged sword. Like you'd
Mhm.
think that I'd catch more people because yeah, I'm out there and everyone sees me. I'm pretty, diba?
Yeah.
But like a lot of the guys who are interested or could be interested are discreet. So the moment that they find out that I'm a social media personality, that's already like a no-no for them. Because again, a lot of guys who are into us are DL for the download, discreet. Diba? So like,
That is a good thing though, in a sense, because like it filters people. Like if you don't have the balls to date me, don't date me.
true, but a lot of, well, I can say that in the Philippines, a lot of Filipino guys kasi are very intimidated by me, my lifestyle, and my personality because my personality online is so strong and I'm just very clear about what I want and they clearly can't live up to that. And that's on them, not on me. Diba? So, promise, I've met a lot of guys na, like, again, I've matched with so many on social media. I've talked to guys, but they always end up being quite intimidated because of my life or my personality. And I get that. And we
I
just
would
end
be
up being
too.
friends. Ganon, diba?
I totally get you. I would be too.
Sorry, what was your question earlier?
My question was, I want to talk about like I want to know like the weirdest date you've ever
The weirdest
like,
date. Okay.
yeah, the weirdest, like the top one.
My God, there's so many. But I'm gonna talk about this one time that I was catfished. And this person, you know, when I saw him in person, I was just so embarrassed. And I'm not really that choosy when it comes to looks, ha. Honestly. But this person was just like, I can't. I really just can't talaga. It was such a huge disparity talaga. Like, it doesn't make sense for us to be together. That level of, very, very different and distinct look talaga. We would not make sense together. And I operate in that sense. You don't have to be good looking, but I want people to look at us and they're like, "Oh, it makes sense." But this person just no words can explain. But I still gave that person a chance because again, I don't want to be the type of person who would judge a person by their looks. We met at the mall beside my university. And I didn't want any of my batchmates or schoolmates to see me with that person. So I was like, parang, do you want to just eat out someplace else? You know, somewhere like, because I'm so sick of the restaurants here. Because again, it's beside the school where I'm studying.
Yeah.
So like, we can try a different place. So he rode my car, I drove. And I think the reason why I'm really just like, I really don't like him talaga is because of his body odor. He smelled so bad talaga. It was awful that I even like, even if he wasn't riding the car anymore, when I was driving home, I could still smell him talaga. So I had my car washed because it was just so disgusting talaga. Anyway, so this guy, he was so full of himself. During the dinner, he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm nervous. You'd think I'd go on a lot of dates because I'm such an alpha male. And I was like, what? Did he just refer to himself as an alpha male? And you know why? He was like, I'm such an alpha male because I have my own car. I have my own place. When I was in college, I was working part-time. And I was like, and he was like, I'm such an alpha male because he has his own band. Like he plays in a band or something. And in my head, I was like, who in their right mind would publicly claim that they are an alpha male, diba?
Wait, what does he look like? I want to imagine.
I can't imagine because he was just so short. I'm 5'5", he was 5'2", and he had this huge mole. But you know the picture that he used on social media? It was a chinito guy, like a Asian, not a Asian guy, but like chinito guy, ganon. Chinita na mestizo, parang ganon. But like, he was just a different person when I saw him. And I felt like that was also the reason why, because I could compare the picture that he used and the picture that the person that I met. But the funny thing is, talaga Sam, is that I met him again. He catfished me a second time. And the second time that I met him, he pretended to not even know me. As in, he was like, hi. And I was like, I was so confused. I was like, are we really, in my head, I was like, are we really playing this game? Are we really gonna act like we don't know each other? Like, this is the first time that we're meeting. Literally, I was so confused.
If that happened to me, I would be like, am I safe?
Diba? The second time, we met on a Starbucks near my house. And when he was getting our drinks, I was like thinking of a way to get out of that date na. Because I was like, I cannot use the same excuse that I used last time, which was my mom was looking for me. Because that was dinner, diba? So my mom was looking for me like around 10 o'clock. I was like, oh, sorry, I have to go because my mom's looking for me. Bye. This time, we met afternoon. So like, there was no reason for me to go home for curfew, diba? So I was like, parang, you know what I did? Best actress. Well, while he was getting drinks, I did not close my eyes. I was just trying to like keep my eyes open the whole time until I would tear up. So when he went up with the drinks, I was already tearing up and I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm so sorry. I can't do this. And he was like, why? What's wrong? Why are you crying? And then I was like, I have a boyfriend and we fought because he cheated and this is me trying to get back at him, but I can't do it. I want to go home. Slay me.
You're still so nice though. Like, you're still so nice. Like, you didn't want to offend him because when it comes to like, I think girls, I'm a lot more considerate of how they would feel. But when it comes to dates, I'm really inconsiderate. Like, I really would leave a date if I don't like the guy and I would tell it. I would tell them. Like, that happened to me. What happened to you happened to me just recently. I think a couple of months ago. It was not in Paris. It was in a different city in the north. And I matched with this guy. And in his pictures, he looked like he had a normal height. And
okay,
we met in person and he's so tiny. I'm not even tall. I'm pretty average. I'm like 5'5" or 5'6". And he's like, I would say like 5.
Oh,
he's like a tiny little minion and everything about him is like so little. Like, he has little legs. Like, everything is so tiny and little.
Yeah.
And,
it breaks the fantasy as a trans woman. You want a guy who's somewhat bigger and wider.
Like, for me, I'm not even picky about the height. If it's like, if we're on the same height, I'm cool with it. I'm chill with that.
Yeah,
like, I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I'm not going to be dating a dwarf. sorry, like it's not, I don't mean to like, but I'm like not into like little tiny guys, like small. How are we gonna kiss?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look down on you or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, but we got inside and oh my God, it was so awkward and painful as a date because he had so much confidence, like your date. Like he had so much confidence trying to try his riz on me. And I
Mhm.
literally said, I am so sorry I have to leave. You're not exactly my type.
Mhm.
And he said,
And then what happened?
he asked me, he was like, so what's your type?
Oh my
And
god. So what was your answer?
my answer was like, I usually like someone who's the same height as me at least. I'm not very picky with height, but I care about it enough that we have to be in the same height. I'm very honest and unfiltered when it comes to men. And
Props to you, okay.
that's because like I'm not scared of offending them because in my head I'm like, I'm not gonna see you again. And it's not like you're gonna beat me up in public. Like I'm just gonna have
Yeah.
to leave. And then he was like, "Oh, I respect that, but I also come with other qualities that you might like." And he was making it hard for me to leave. That I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Look, you could tell me you own a country, I would still leave."
Mhm.
And I just left. I walked out after that because I don't want to prolong the conversation because I know he's gonna keep on like, ano bang tawag dito? Haggle.
I think it's the people pleaser side of me that I don't want to offend as much as possible. So I know earlier on I was saying, you know what, I'm living my life unapologetic, but I also don't
Yes.
want to offend other people. So that's the people pleasing side of me.
But was there like a time in like in your friendship that your people pleasing side has caused a conflict in friendship because you weren't honest about how you feel just to please someone?
I can't really name a specific moment right now at the top of my head, but like, yeah, I feel like I've gotten a lot of like trouble as well with my people pleasing personality side. But to my friends, I am such a giver in a sense that even if it's inconvenient for me, I would go out of my way just to support my friends. I give 110% or even 200% for my friends than to my lover.
I like how
I'm
you're
very
like,
I'm very unashamed of that. My friends, if you are my friend, you are so lucky.
did you cause a fight like with a guy before that you used to date just because you prioritize your friends?
Yes. And I was like, they are my friends. I have been friends with them for 2 decades. I'm pretty sure we will break up. No, but like, I didn't say that second part, but I'm like, you know what? When we got into a relationship, you knew how I am, that I would always prioritize my friends. So like, you can't make it such a big deal now because you knew what you were getting yourself into.
I like that. The reason
There's a disclaimer.
The reason I ask about you being such a people pleaser, because for me, I would say I would have a very strong personality in a sense that, like, if I like something, if I don't like something, I would say it
Mhm.
because it bothers me and I don't want to hold resentment towards you. But I had some, I would say, casual friendships when I moved here where I met people that are very
Mhm.
pleasers. That at some point we had a conflict only because they weren't being honest of how they feel. And I didn't know they've been collecting a lot of resentment towards me. That I was like, I wish you told me. If you told me, I would have fixed it. I would have changed something. I would have accommodated how you feel. So for me, like it's a tricky thing to be friends with people pleasers, only because I have a very different type of personality. I like pleasing my friends, but I'm also very selfish in a sense that like I am not going to go above and beyond if it makes me too uncomfortable. If it goes against my morals, if it goes against who I am as a person, then I'm not going to go to that length.
That's true. Yeah.
So, yeah, the reason why I asked that if it caused a fight at some point.
It did. Now that you brought it up, I've had similar situations, but I feel like I'm also very honest about things that I don't like to do, but I would
Yeah.
still do it regardless. Pretty sticky situation to be in, but like the same with you. To my other friends, I would also want for people to tell me if I'm doing things wrong rather than,
Yeah.
them holding resentment towards me that never really expected or knew. So, ayun.
Exactly. Like, for me, like, I love my friends. Like you, I have had friends for close to 2 decades and they're my ride or die. And I'm the type of friend, even if I just met you and I consider you as a friend, and you would call me at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you're going to be like, oh, I'm so drunk. I'm in Paris right now. Like, can you pick me up at 2 a.m.? I would, you know? But
Yeah.
like, but there for me, like, I have some boundaries that I'm not going to be able to cross with you. So I'm going to tell you if I
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. I'm like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
comfortable doing that, you know?
Yeah.
And I expect the same from my friends, but some people pleasing people have the tendency to not communicate how they feel, and they would just sacrifice and compromise. Only later, at a later time, they would be like,
They'll bring it up.
yeah, they will bring it up when you have a fight that's totally different from that.
Yes. Okay.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah.
They didn't have that tendency before. Like, I think maybe when you were growing up and you're a bit more, I guess, like, not as emotionally intelligent as you are now, where you had to bring up some stuff that were not even connected to what you have, the type of conflict that you had to bring up some past that you're like, you know what? You did this before and I tolerated it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah. Of course. I feel like everyone can relate to that.
Right? Right? So that's a reason I ask about it. Now,
Mhm.
I want to talk about the best date you've ever had. Because that's, I think, what I'm most excited about when talking about trans women's dating life. Because I had one of the best dates of my life at some point in my life, and I want to hear yours.
Best date. I think the best dates actually
Yeah.
that I've had are the most mundane ones. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be grand, but the connection is just there.
Yeah.
You meet a guy, he asks the right questions. He respects you enough to not even take it to anything sexual. I don't know. I appreciate the mundane things. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be so special. It could be just getting coffee, but the connection is there and the friendship is there. So I've had that numerous times, but I think one specific moment was this guy that I met maybe like 2 years ago. Oh, actually, no, I've had a lot of dates nga, no, that I want to share. But like, again, because I share it on TikTok as well with proof. Like I show proof of the date as well. So like, but like, in general, I think what I really like are very, very wholesome dates that are very, very simple. They don't even have to take me out on a fancy restaurant because I feel like that puts too much pressure on me.
Yeah.
What I really like are very simple, mundane dates or even just errand dates. Like I have errands, he has to do things as
Yeah.
well. And we just go through our day together. And that's honestly very enjoyable to me. It takes away the pressure of having to like perform in a date, diba? It's like very casual, very simple, but again, it's very authentic in a way.
Okay. And is there a
Does that make
specific,
sense?
it makes sense. It makes sense to me a lot. Like a genuine connection and a person that asks the right questions,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make you feel pressure.
Yeah.
And you can just easily be yourself. And I've had that many times.
Yeah.
Was there a specific day that you feel like that person did it the best?
I would say this. I have to choose, and it's hard for me to choose.
Raffle
But
draw.
like,
Raffle draw.
which one? It's so hard. It's so hard for me to choose. Pero again, the top of
Was
my
there
head
the-
right now, the one
Yeah.
that the one that I'm imagining while I'm explaining these things is this guy whose name is Sam. And si Sam kasi he was such a sweet guy, really,
Yeah.
really handsome. He's super my type. I think we spent the whole morning and afternoon just laughing at
Yeah.
jokes and like talking about our lives, and the connection was great. That even the next day, we even met up the next day just to talk. So we never really had the chance to like do anything else on top of that. But it was a sweet and casual date that I really, really enjoyed. That up to this day, we still talk from time to time.
Is he Filipino by any chance?
He's not, which is not I own my type kasi are Filipinos. So I don't like Caucasians. I don't like foreigners, but like he was actually a Caucasian man.
I was saying like I like me some Caucasian man.
I can see from your videos.
I'm very whitewashed for that. I kind of feel like I find Filipino men very attractive and Asian men very attractive. it has nothing to do with like physical attraction. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's coming from a place of having a couple of experiences dating Filipino guys, and I feel like whenever that I try to navigate a conversation with them, it's usually uninteresting for me. And because a lot of Asian guys are very conservative,
Yes, I get it.
and also because first our country is a third world country, so a lot of them haven't traveled as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some topics that I kind of feel like we couldn't really explore together. We're not
Mm-hmm.
just like in the same, I don't know how to describe it. But we have, what I'm trying to say is that I find them uninteresting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Ako, Sam, I've dated kasi both foreigners and Filipino guys. And
Yeah.
I used to even dub myself as a femme huntress back then. Cause like I would date a lot of foreigners. Two of my exes were, two of my exes were foreigners. And it was okay. Like I really had fun. And I loved them deeply. But iba pa rin magmahal ng Pinoy. A Filipino guy with the same somewhat social circle or background hits different for me. So that's kind of like the thing that I'm looking for now, that I want, if I'm gonna be dating, he has to be Filipino and he has to be somewhat in the same social circle, if that makes sense, or very similar circles that I'm in, and who grew up somewhat very similar to how I grew up in that
And
sense.
in what sense? Like how you
Like the same financial background, the same access to things. I don't want the guy to feel that my life is so different from his. So I don't want to have to explain why I have this, why my family is like this. I don't know. Parang
I
it's
understand.
just more comfortable that way, that we grew up somewhat in a very similar background. And my ex was like that. So my previous relationship, he actually checked all the boxes that I was looking for. And that's why I'm telling you right now that I've already had the taste of like a relationship that worked. He checked all the boxes that I was looking for. Honestly, if I wanted to get married, he would probably be that guy. But I realized that I'm not happy being in a relationship. It's not what I'm looking for in my life. That's why I'm okay being single.
So why it didn't work out between the two of you? What the time in your life that you were like, was there a specific moment in the relationship where you were like, I'm unhappy? And what triggered that feeling? Because for me, I have a very different concept of relationship where it doesn't feel like a responsibility to a sense that it's draining you.
Uh-huh.
For me, a relationship is more of kind of like my fortress where I get to recharge and I get to regain my strength and go back to living my life again.
Well, he was honestly very sweet. The same time when I broke up with him, my dad cried because my dad was like, I don't think you'll find anyone who can love you more than him. And I was like, answer that. Parang hindi motivating yung answer mo na yan.
I love your dad.
No, because he was really such a great boyfriend. He was very supportive. He loved me so much. But it just wasn't fair for him that I just didn't feel the same way. And for me, it would be better if we just broke up. Because if I can't, like, I don't want him to settle for someone who doesn't feel the same way. I feel like he deserves someone who can return the same energy back. So I have no complaints towards him and how he loved me. He was such a great boyfriend. But again, I just wasn't happy anymore because it's just a me problem. That's why when I broke up with him, I was very serious because he was like, let's fix it. I can be better. Tell me what I need to do. And I was like telling him, it's not you. Honestly, it's not you. And then he was even telling me that if I want to date other guys, he's going to be okay with it. Or he could just, be there. And if I'm like done dating, I could go back to him. And I was like telling him, that's not fair for you. Especially when I know that you're not into polyamory or whatever. You're not open to having an open relationship. I don't want to do that to you. I don't want you to resent me. So rather than, reaching a point where we resent each other, I'd rather break up while while we have respect for each other. And it was such a mutual or a good breakup. I mean, obviously, he cried, I cried, and, it is what it is, but I can't force something that I don't want to be in anymore. And it was okay.
Did you ever regret that decision? Was there a time in your life that you were like, oh, I wish I never
No,
met him?
no, not really. Because I'm happy for him. He's actually married now and they have kids already. So I'm happy for him. He wanted that with me, but I was like, bye. No, that was my sign to like break up because he had this plan already to move our relationship forward. And I was like, parang, wait, no, bye.
I'm gonna say something.
That's why my anthem was Go Easy on Me by Adele because it was exactly what I was going through. I was like, still, I want to explore the world. I want to live my life single, go easy on me that, I don't want this anymore. I don't want you to resent me. That's what I wanted to share earlier din pala about dating. It's hard if you're 30 plus na because one, I feel like a lot of men in their search engine, they don't have women above 30. They would always go for women who are younger. And I feel like the guys who are like in their 30s and dating, they're not looking to date, maybe, especially not a trans person. So it's just hard because as women, I feel like our value deteriorates as we age because we are in an ageist society where women, as they age, they're not attractive, but men become daddies.
That is so
The
true. Like men get finer as they get older, but it's not physically, but in our sense. I think in like women's mindset is more like he's more mature, he's more
yeah.
stable, you know.
But for women, we're more, we're used goods, ganon.
Yes,
Diba?
or like we're not fresh anymore, you know, like
Correct.
we're not this blooming flower anymore. We passed our prime as if our prime is different than their prime.
Yeah, diba? So, yun, that's why it's harder to date.
But I think when you're 30, I think for me, it's difficult to date in a sense of like looking for something more serious and more profound relationships only because you're more emotionally intelligent than when you were young. So for you, it's a lot easy for you to spot some red flags or
Yes.
you know that a guy wouldn't really be compatible with you compare as when you were younger you're a lot more naive to let pass things they're like you know what it's fine it's okay but as you get older you're like yeah, I'm not fine with it and I don't have to say I'm fine with it and I can move on so
Yeah, and I think in our 30s, we're also more intentional with the people that we
yes.
date because we're no longer trying to discover what we want. We already know what we want. So if it doesn't work out, bye.
Exactly. So I think, what do you think, or what qualities of Filipina queer people that you're very proud of that you think could be very different from other queer communities in different countries or from different countries?
I think the difference would be I think Filipino queer people are more unserious in a sense that we can make fun of our situation and somewhat be happy with it and find the joy in things despite our sad situation that being queer in the Philippines is still we're still seen as second class citizens. I think that's a nice trait to have. But it's a double-edged sword because if we're not angry, people will not take us seriously. So we could find the joy in things, but we also need to learn when to take things seriously and when to say stop when it's, too much, when it's disrespect na talaga. But I like to think of it the same way that I handle hate comments, that I can make fun of it, I can make jokes out of it. I feel like that's a trait that is admirable because I think we're strong. We're not that phased by homophobia or transphobia in a certain level.
This guy I was on a date with last night, I was like,
Mhm.
like queer people in the Philippines, they're more, I wouldn't say just the word fun, but more like they're not draining to hang out with in a sense of like talking about social issues because we're very unserious people and it's a double-edged sword because in a sense it's positive because it builds resilience. Like we are very resilient people. We're not
Mhm.
easily faced by, like you said, like transphobia or homophobia. We make fun of it. But at the same time, it impacts, I think, more of like legislation of our existence and how we're valued in a society. I really agree with that. I think it's a very Filipino trait to find positive things out of terrible things only because we had so much struggle in our country.
And that's the only way to cope.
And that's
Comedy.
to quote comedy.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to ask for your message to queer people who are struggling in the current social climate.
Well, I think my practical advice is to, whenever you see something that triggers you or affects you, especially your mental health, you can always block it out. Turn off your social media, get off your phone. Because honestly, I know how draining it is and how we're often wired to feel like, why don't I have this? Why don't we try to look for the things that are missing in our lives and compare it because we compare ourselves to other people. So the best way, honestly, is to just get off the app and also focus on what you do have and focus on the things that make you happy. But more than that, I hope we learn to embrace who we are and be unapologetic about ourselves and to own up our whole being, the ups and the downs. And let's always remember that our value is not measured um on your how feminine you are or how masculine you are, on your ability to pass and all these things. I hope someday you can learn to find joy and to find value in who you are as a person, because you are more than just your sexuality, you're more than just your identity, or your gender identity rather. And ayun, I guess my only message is to be you, be unapologetically you.
Thank you so much, Rika. It was really nice having a conversation with you. I feel really inspired, and I'm not like really just because there's so many words that you said that really resonated with me, and also a lot of words you said that I feel like I needed to hear in the
I'm
face.
so happy and thank you for having me. And I'm like, lahat ng chika mo kanina, everything that you shared, it was so like interesting to hear your stories and also, about how you go through life and how you deal with hate and also your situation. Na alam mo na yun.
Offline.
Yes, but
Thank you,
thank you
Rika.
for having me. I also learned from you.
I'll talk to you soon.